right?
Yeah, nah.
I got to
we
do it
good.
like a work meeting. You'd be like, oh, do you mind we record this episode, this meeting? All right, so yeah, let me put you right there. All right, so yeah, so I've heard that. How you feel? Okay, let's go back to what you said. So, because whoever's watching this don't know what the hell we talking about.
Just jumping like, what are they talking about? Yeah, so I seen a Republican senator, I think it was a senator, talking about how they're trying to pass that you can no longer purchase junk food and sugary products using EBT.
Honestly, I think it's a Band-Aid for a gunshot wound because I get the initiatives to try to keep people more healthy. But unfortunately, when it comes to that, what about the food deserts? How come this is the only food that's available in these areas? So I think if we had a solution where we're going to get rid of the junk food and now we have more whole foods in the area, that's more of a solution to saying that you can't eat. Well, we're not going to allow you to buy certain foods on our dime because we feel like it's not healthy.
Yeah, and you know that the Band-Aid and not fixing the problem is what started me wanting to record with you in the first place, because I see this with a lot of things. It's like they'll say this and people will cheer it on, like, yeah, like them poors don't need to be eating good, buying junk food and stuff like that. But it's like you looking at the wrong thing. Instead of focusing on why they purchasing these things, focus on why is that the only option? Why is there 7 fast food joints for every market? And never mind the market. When I put the video in this, I could show you a picture of the produce in my neighborhood, literally, that someone sent me because they were showing why you can't buy nothing from over here. So it's like, if you're not going to fix that problem, don't try to police what people can buy.
Yeah. If, like I said, man, like I said, it's a Band-Aid to a gunshot wound. It's so much bad options in these neighborhoods. You're not going to get the right options to fix the problems when it comes to hypertension, when it comes to high blood pressure, when it comes to diabetes. Those problems are not going to be solved because you're now saying what foods could be purchased on food stamps. It don't make sense.
Not at all. Like, as someone who lives in the city, it's a luxury, a luxury that I have a car and I have to drive to Jersey to go food shopping, all the way to Walmart, which is almost about 20 miles away from me. You know, but not a lot of people don't have that option. Yeah, they have to shop at the Dan's over here and buy whatever crap produce they can get their hands on, and it's overpriced. Like, don't even get me started into that. It's bad and it's overpriced.
And it's hyper what's the word? I guess hyper toxic because all the chemicals that's on the food. Like if you buy an apple from a supermarket anywhere, I mean, you can buy apple from Whole Foods. It's way different than the apple that you buy from, say, you go upstate to the Amish that's selling apples on the side of the road. It's way different. And when I'm talking about Whole Foods, and now if you're talking about apples in the hood, you might get the same quality apple of the plastic apple that's there for decoration.
Yeah, you liable to. And where's the discussion about food deserts? Because you don't see that. I assure you, like at my news network here on Pix, Fox, CBS, I've never seen a conversation about food deserts, ever.
And that's the problem. The problem is the food desert. The problem is not the junk food. You ain't got no choice. Okay, have you ever heard of Dr. Bobby Price?
No.
All right, so Dr. Bobby Price is a brother out here in Atlanta, and he has a cleanser detox that I do at least once a year. And he was discussing how he went to a school and he was showing kids whole foods like blueberries, blackberries, all types of stuff. So he showed kids blueberries, and the kids didn't think they were blueberries because of the color. The kids were associating the color from the blueberries to what they see in Pop-Tarts. So they was like, that's not the right color. They don't even know the idea of the Whole Foods, let alone what Whole Foods is.
Or what a food looks like without sugar, preservatives, and additives, and all that other stuff. They used to that funky looking purple that you get in your Pop-Tart or something like that.
And it's like, I guess it's a double-edged sword because I see that the Trump administration has linked up with RFK Jr. and he's very into the health, but he's not solving the problems why these issues are here in these underserved communities. If you're not going to solve that problem, then why even fight for this? Like the way you are fighting for it.
I know. And that's part of a larger discussion because along with that, I was seeing a bunch of policies online that to me are obviously anti-working class, anti-poor, but I see people celebrating it. And that's the part that
Yeah.
I can't come to grips with is I just don't understand why people seem to celebrate dunking on poor people or punching on people who they deem to be below them. That's the part that I can't wrap my head around.
So
Like,
give
is
me
it
some examples of the policies that
propaganda?
you've seen.
Am I missing something? It's like, for instance, I was seeing a lot of starting in 2026, Trump was gonna put a 2-year limit on Section 8 housing. After that, you have to go. I seen another EBT policy. They were saying that I don't know if it's with or without kids, but adults had to work 35 hours a week in order to get food stamps anymore. And all you see is people celebrating it, like, yeah, I'm struggling and I can't do this or that, or good. I see people in the hood with a nice car and they don't need that, and just on and on and on. So, like I said, pretty much any policy you see that's anything that's taking money or funds from a poor person or a poor community in my own is cheered on. So you pick your policy, and that's an example.
I think the problem with that is the reason why it's cheered on is because of the scammers who take advantage of it is being, I guess, spoken about more than the people who need it. So I guess I have to be real careful saying this how I'm about to word it, but there is a group of people that is in New York, right? And they have the ultimate scam when it comes to welfare that goes over a lot of people's heads. So what they do is they marry their wife, right? But their marriage is not seen as a legal marriage in New York or United States, right? They marry their wife. They own the building where the wife stays at, have all these kids. So now the wife is getting Section 8. The wife is getting food stamps. And the Section 8 that the wife is receiving is going to the husband because that's his building. You see, so it was like the government is taking care of my family. The government is paying for one of my buildings. And now I have another building with another person in Section 8 in it. And it's like, it get to be a snowball effect of how this person is creating this crazy wealth because his marriage is not seen as a marriage in the United States. And that's going all over
I've never
New York
seen that,
City.
right?
Huh?
That scam. But I said I've never seen it. But I know people obviously do cheat the system. But I promise you, if you post that story of this person who obviously has some level of wealth, because you're doing scams involving buildings to get your welfare, that's something different. But if you post that person and them doing it with buildings, it would get a lot less backlash than if you post a single mother with 6 children and she shows you a fridge full of food that she bought because she gets, say, $2,800 in food stamps. The amount of rage you would get from posting her as opposed to him would be quite different. And that's my point, which is it shouldn't be. If you think one is bad, then they're both bad. And if you're going to choose levels, for me, and this is just an opinion thing, choose levels, I'm always going to be more for the poor person that's scamming to get by than the wealthy person that's doing it just so they can get an extra car or extra boat. And that's the part where I don't understand the disconnect. But I see what you're saying about that's what people see. Because I know the welfare queen name they used or whatever, like you see that and it enrages you. And that gets pushed.
Yeah. It's funny. I was just talking to my mom about that earlier, about the welfare queen thing, because, you know, they put out an image for people to be upset about. And once you're upset about that image, then you're like, all right, that image is now ingrained in my head that this person is problematic and this person is holding me back. For example, I know it's off topic, but on topic, because this conversation came with my mom earlier about DEI. And she asked me how I feel about DEI. And I said, I'm for what DEI represents. I just hate the fact that we're the face of it. So whenever there's an attack on DEI, who's getting the hardest strike? Black people, because we decided to be the face of it. So the attacks on DEI is not an attack on, say, a gay white man that's 25 years old, because he can now just be a white man that's 25 years old. The attack is not on the veteran white man that went to the army. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no attack on him. It's always attack on Black people. So it's like, once you put a face to something, going back to the welfare queen, going back to us again, once you put a face on something, you put a face out there for the public to have an enemy. And the enemy is the person they put the face towards. And it's up to us, it's up to that person to wear that badge of honor.
That makes sense. But it's like I would never get it because if you pay attention, it's like it's literally welfare and socialism for the rich and capitalism and rugged individualism for middle class and poor people. There's certain issues where I'd be like, yeah, I know I could be a little left leaning on that, or I know a little bit lax, probably because of the environment I grew up in. I could see the disagreement, but certain things that I'd be like, isn't this clear? Like, isn't it obvious that you being duped or,
It's not.
and
It's
I
obvious,
guess
but it's
it's
not
just
clear. Yeah, it's obvious, but it's not clear. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And it's disheartening because it was like you wake up but everybody's still asleep, and you shaking everybody like, yo, get up, get up, get up. Let me tell you what's going on. Nobody wants to hear what's going on. They rather just keep staying asleep because it's more comfortable to stay asleep.
And what's the thing? The crazy part is that I generally try to be when it comes to those kind of issues, like, listen, it's not a race thing, it's a class thing. I know people think it's a black-white issue, but it's really not. It's more of a class issue. And once people realize that, there'll be a change. But then you see things and how they're developing. And then when them same people I said that to come to me and say, you still think that it's hard for me to defend that it's not a black and white racial issue when you see some of the things that he's doing, that's happening and how people are celebrating it.
So
and then
like how you said,
I question my own thinking.
So you're saying how people celebrating the I guess the detachment from welfare, right? So people celebrating that. That's what you're speaking about. Yeah,
all of those, the deportations, the firing of government workers, and all of that.
Yeah.
Like generally in society, you never want to see anybody lose their job. Even when we talk in sports, something that don't matter. These coaches are millionaires, but whenever they lead a topic on First Take ESPN, they say, it's unfortunate Jeff Van Gundy got fired. You never want to see anybody lose their job, but he stunk. Whatever. But with this, you see people getting fired, and it's just like, good. USAID was a scam. That government agency, that's a scam. All them workers fired, probation. Some people just got their government jobs fired, and it's like, good, that's a scam. I'm just like,
it's weird because you see, I guess, the Department of Government Efficiency, which is Elon Musk and whoever else he got running under him, is running the Department of Government Efficiency like a business. And it's like they cutting the fat. And they are finding some things of some reports I've seen that's pretty interesting of, I think it's, say, for example, Social Security. I've heard they found millions of dollars going out to Social Security of people that are 200 years old. So you have generations of people receiving Social Security from a person who died 120 years ago, 130 years ago. It's like they have to at least find that out, right? Like they have to trim the fat on that. Because if our Social Security is not going to be there when we get older, and you paying somebody out because you find thousands of people that's in their 200 still getting paid out and their family is still receiving this money, that's not fair to us. So I see how some jobs are being cut, but I also see like that needs to be done as well.
So here's where I stand with that. If that was the case, I would 100% agree with you because waste is a thing. Like we know that in the government, waste is a thing. But they're using misinformation and propaganda to pitch that. Again, I'm going to send it to you after because somebody debunked that little BS chart that Elon put out and explained about how the Social Security, there's people who were born before it came into effect that when the information gets input, it automatically defaults to some crazy age in the 100 and somethings because of when they were born. If I show you the video, that would explain it better than I can. But my point is like, I know not everyone can see it. I seen the playbook coming from a mile away because I've been heard that they was trying to attack Social Security. They was trying to attack the child tax credit on income tax, reduce the corporate tax from 21% to 15%. So I've seen this. So I know that tweet was just a way for them to say Social Security is a scam so they could ultimately try to completely gut it.
Right.
That's why on that end, to me, it's BS. But what you're saying, I could agree with. Like if there's legitimate fraud and they want to root it out and get some of the money back that's being wastefully spended, I could understand that. But me personally, I don't believe that not one iota, not one. Not from Elon, not from Orange Man. And it wouldn't have mattered if Kamala won, because I don't believe them either.
That's the thing.
I really don't believe hardly any politician.
And I'm in the same position. Yeah, I'm in the same position. I can't take none of them serious. It really disheartened me when people is fighting over a politician's stance over another one. It's like they both snakes. It's like you got, like you a child and you got one parent that's on drugs, the other one that's beating you, and you trying to figure out which one to go stay with. Yeah, like you better just go to the system.
Around the election run, when we was doing the podcast topics about the election, and I was saying don't vote for Kamala Harris, but don't vote for her just because she's a black woman and some purpose. Oh man, you should see how black folk was looking at me. Even my mom and sisters, when they were like, they're voting for Kamala, and I was like, what is she doing for us? What's going to fundamentally change in your life if she becomes president over Trump? And they were damn near screaming at me, but I was just like, you guys don't get it. You're propagandizing. I get it. But like,
yeah,
nothing is going to change. I'm telling you.
And honestly, if it was Harris instead of Trump, nothing would have changed your day-to-day life that's going on right now, I think. I mean, it depends on your job, right? Like, say if you was a government worker, that is going to change. I do think Trump is doing things for people that are buddy-buddy with him. Yes. So, like, for example, the new thing they want people to start coming back into the office. So he's trying to, like, push mandates to stop work from home. And it's like, me, yeah, like me, I work from home.
I was a victim of that just moved. Our video person moved to Cali because his job was remote, and now they're talking about clipping it.
Yeah. And it's like, luckily for me, my job demands for me to be home because of the type of work I do, and I need to be at a stationary place. But like, for instance, my wife, she's remote. She got the job as remote. And it's like now they are pulling back on people who got the job as remote and saying, now you got to come into the office. And it's like, is it even worth it for me to work this job going to the office because of the amount of money I have to spend going into the office? I know this girl, she worked from home, and it's like, oh, we need you to come into the office. We give you a salary bump. But then now she got to go into the office, and they're going to take a company car. So she's like, now I got to pay for a car note, got to pay for car insurance, got to pay for gas, got to pay for all the stuff. Where's my raise? If anything, I might be losing money if I take this position.
Yeah. And when you say like that, so for those people, right, I could understand if you tell me I would have voted for Kamala Harris or this person because of this reason. This policy that's going to be enacted or doesn't affects me. Cool. That's an educated person, at least a bare minimum, know what you're talking about. Like, and I feel no one, even if I don't agree with it and you say, I want to vote for Trump because he's going to do X, Y, Z, and it's BS, I could see how someone could think that. But when you just say, well, I'm going to vote for her because she's a black woman, or why are you going to vote for Trump? He's going to make America great again, and he says whatever he wants. And then it's just like, oh, man. Like, that's where you lose me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's a term I heard called getting your politics with French fries. It's like fast food. It's like, all right, you got your Big Mac, now you got your French fries, you got your 10 nuggets for $1, which is the most trash I've ever heard in my life. We got 10 nuggets for $1, and it's like, all right, now like I know. Huh?
That tastes like rubber?
Yes, rubber and barbecue sauce. And now I know, like, all right, I could just eat my food. And it's the same way that people get their politics. There's no real discourse. There's no real information. There's no real thought behind it. It's just, like you said, oh, she's a black woman. I mean, honestly, that even been debunked, that she's a black woman.
Yeah. So when I was saying that, one of these days, creator to creator, maybe we should just exchange our worst messages.
Oh, man. That'd be fun.
Good laugh.
But yeah, like I said,
she's not even black, she's Indian, quote, was not taken too greatly. Nah. Even though in the video, I think I clearly showed her saying when she was elected as the first Indian American and her in it. Who cares though? Who cares about facts and all that?
Oh man, it's so much to unpack on Kamala, man. It's crazy that we mentioned Kamala. My new episode this week is about Kamala Harris. And I waited purposely for everything to die down to have the conversation so people could have more of a, I guess, unemotional approach to the video.
You think it's gonna be more nuanced now?
Yeah, I think so.
Think so? I would hope, because I'm a little disappointed even seeing, I'm seeing a lot of shaming, even though I told you how clearly I think what Trump wanted to do was obvious. I don't blame people who are affected by him doing. I see a lot of the farm's going away. You voted for this, or your brother got deported. You voted for. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? Don't shame people. Like that doesn't work either. You think you're gonna convince them to come over to your side? I don't think that's gonna help.
Not only that's not going to help, then you shaming people like you don't have the same president. Like, since I voted for Kamala, she's my. No, it don't work like that. We have the same president. It's like,
you're right.
You can't make it make sense, man.
Yeah,
make it make sense.
That's the we try, but it doesn't always work.
It's sad. It is definitely sad, man. But I wanted to. I guess we didn't. We didn't really get into the shaming of poor people conversation. Because that's what this is about. Yeah. We're already 22 minutes in. We didn't even get to that yet.
I know. So, get the conversation down the.
Yeah. So the shaming of poor people. Okay, you can break it down because this is your gripe.
Okay.
Oh, you said you hear echo, right?
A little. It's a delay on my end.
Delay is cool. Echo's not. All right.
Yeah, no, it's just a delay. Like I was saying, I know this is a propensity people have to punch down and basically dunk on poor people. And you will see these same people not say anything. If somebody is getting housing assistance, they will be mad at that, but you're not going to be mad at millionaire or billionaire who's not paying any taxes or exploiting all kind of loopholes. And I'm like, is it just because people don't understand? But it can't be that, because I know you can see it. So that just leads me to, is it just hate? Because that's what I was left with. Because if somebody in the projects drives a Benz, right? Yeah. Wherever you live and whatever your situation is, that doesn't affect you in the least. So what does that elicit in you to make you be like, well, F them poors, like they don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Yada, 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 without any real, background. It's like it automatically comes down to either just a misunderstanding or hate. And I'm starting to lean more towards the hate side.
I will push back and not say that it's hate. Mm-hmm. I would say that the reason why they misdirect their anger at the poor person juxtaposed to the richer person who's doing the stuff with the tax breaks and getting over on the system is because those people who do that type of stuff are celebrated. Prior to 2016, how many songs Donald Trump was in? Like Cocoa Brothers and Raekwon literally got a song called I'm the Black Trump. So we could talk about all the things that Trump had going on as far as not paying taxes, as far as the bankruptcies, as far as, getting over the loopholes of taxes, the stuff that he discussed. Like, I know how to do this because I know the system. That was celebrated. The people who are living in the projects, driving a Benz, even though, say, that person who has a Benz bought the Benz before they went into the projects and fell on hard times, and now they living in the projects, but now they have a Benz, and it's probably better for them to keep the Benz as opposed to trading in the Benz and get a whole new car. We don't know the whole situation. So they look down on those people, so they rather talk bad about the people they look down at than the people they look up to, because the people that they look up to is actually more cause and effect on what's going on in day-to-day life. So if you have a multimillionaire not paying taxes or getting over on taxes, but you have somebody in the projects that just lives somewhere paying, say, I don't know, $150 a month, which one is a more effect to your day-to-day? The billionaire that's not paying taxes, because they're not putting their fair share in. So if they're not putting their fair share in, the person that's in the middle class that's only making $150,000, $200,000 a year is going to pay more taxes than the person that's making $200 million a year. And the person that's paying $200 million a year is paying the same percentage of taxes as the person making $200,000. That's more to go into the system for people to get more things allocated to them. So it's like that person is doing more damage to you than the person that is driving the Benz in the pink houses.
I definitely agree with you on that. It's a matter, one, of what's shown to us, but the part, I guess, I'm going to ask you, does it matter to you? Because if this be the for me, even if that person got that Benz as a result of their $150 rent, I don't care either.
No.
That doesn't bother me. Does that bother you?
No, because one, I know plenty of people who scam in the system on a day-by-day basis, and what they're doing to me is just taking from a corrupted government anyway. Like, I guess I could, whatever, I got caught already with this, so I could say it anyway. I was getting unemployment and working off the books, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, I could work off the books, get cash every week for my skill set, and get this unemployment while I go to school to get the job I'm at now. So it was like, I'm able to do that. So I call that, you know what? The government already owes me. I'm taking it back. I'm not waiting for you to decide to give me something. I'm not waiting for you to decide to give me reparations. I'm not waiting for that. So now I'm starting to team up with people who know loopholes, who know ways of getting around the government, who know people who could sign off for something at the Social Security office, or know people who could sign off for certain things. Not saying I did or did not do those things, but I know people who know people who know people, and I could get in contact with somebody in case I need to do something like that. And that's just the way it is, especially in New York. Everybody knows somebody who knows somebody. Like, damn, I need health insurance for the year before I can do my taxes. Yo, talk to Miss Rodriguez, give her $200. She'll figure something out to give you. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody know a scam.
Yeah, and that's my thing, because I thought, because I'm with you there, that doesn't bother me either. But I think a lot more people would feel differently about that when you getting over because you scamming the government on your income taxes or your EBT or something. Like, I definitely agree with that. I'll give you a perfect example.
I got an
During the
example for you too.
pandemic, I was working at the hospital. As you know, it was crazy during that time. Crazy amount of hours, having to wear all kind of stupid protective gear to go on wards and deal with COVID patients. Meanwhile, one of my homeboys was getting unemployment, and he was making more than me. We had a conversation, and he was telling me how much he had gotten 1 week. Bro was pulling in $900 every 2 weeks after they was taking child support from him. You hear me?
Damn.
That means it was over a band. And like, when he told me that, I ain't gonna hold you for a split second. I got enraged. First, I got mad. Then I was like, I need to quit my job. But then I realized, listen, it's not his fault that this is what's going on. I don't blame him. I blame the state of New York for underpaying me. So I need to figure out a way to get like him, not be mad at him. And I think that's where people like me and you maybe defer, you know, my mindset changes. I don't automatically think, well, F this guy on child support getting all this money. No. I'm like, oh, all right. Like, I need to figure something out too. If anything, if anybody's my job is exploiting me, so I'm going to be mad at them, not him.
Yeah. I'll give you another example that's similar to that, that's close to that happened. So I'm at the casino, right? Playing blackjack, the dealer not paying attention. So the dealer beat my hand. So I lost $75. But she paid me $75 because she's not paying attention. But she got around to the table, and there was another lady who she pushed. So they had the same amount. And first she took her money. She said, oh, my bad, you pushed. Here's your money back. And she says, oh, no, well, what about him? Yo, I gave her that look so crazy, like, yo, you better not say that. Like, just because she got caught, now she want to rat me out. That's just people's mentality. That's a factory default. They don't like to see people on their level leveling up, but they want to see people above them keep leveling up, or they don't want to see nobody on their level or below their level up, but they want to see people that it's higher than them to get better because of what, I don't know, maybe because they idolize these people, maybe because they want to become this person.
Listen, I know you ain't until now, but think about where you're from and where we grew up. When someone don't want to see someone on their level do good, what's that? I just said it. I started with saying this doesn't seem like hate to me, and you said nah, but you just defined hate to me. At least on this side, that's what that is.
It is. Yeah, right back. Damn, you're right. That is hate. Like, yo, why he got that? I mean, damn, why he get this girl? And
Right?
damn,
Right?
yo,
Did we just solve the hate for poverty? The problem is just hate. That's all it is.
Oh man, hate, 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 hate,
that's
hate,
exactly
hate,
what it
hate,
is.
hate,
Sheesh.
hate, hate,
Damn,
hate, 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 hate,
I can't even come back on that one. You're right.
I don't know
Yeah, that lady's a
if it's the
hater though.
proper definition of the term, but I heard somewhere someone said whataboutism. And before we had this discussion, I just thought about that. I was like, I don't know if that term goes, but that's what it reminds me of. People is like, well, what about me? Like he has that, well, what about me? Why do you have this and why do you have that? The funniest part is the people who are saying the most probably would not last 30 seconds in the projects. Understand me.
No.
The first time they see human feces in the stairway, they will be ready to pack their shit and move. Okay? So that's the crazy thing. You're fighting for some shit you probably don't even want because you think it's going to provide you with an opportunity that it doesn't. Because if you on the internet dunking on poor people, I promise you, you have no idea what income creep is. And when you get into the projects, you're going to be in the same cycle as Tyrone. Trust me.
Wait, you said income creepers?
Income creep.
Okay. I think you said income creepers, like somebody's creeping on your income.
No. It's a term called income creep. I figured it out when I tried to figure out why when I was making 20,000, I felt just as broke when I started making 70.
You know, I gotta get a. I'm not gonna say that I went through that. I felt a lot better when I made more money, but how come you felt that way? Like, what is that?
So it's not that I felt worse. I didn't feel financially better off. And I didn't understand it. I was like, all right, I'm making way more money than I was making a few years ago, but I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. And at the time, I didn't understand why. I didn't know that what income creep meant. I didn't realize that slowly as I was making more money that my lifestyle was going up. I didn't realize that I went from buying, let's say, one pair of Jordans when I got paid for to two pairs and a sweater with it. I didn't realize I got more subscriptions. You know, I didn't realize that I was doing little things because I was making more money that was slowly chipping away at whatever gains that I was making, and it was putting me right back in the same bucket. And when you broke, you don't default to, well, look at this nice ish I got. I'm just thinking like, yo, why am I still broke? I don't understand.
Yeah.
The thing that literally made me figure it out, I've never told a story on a podcast before, but that broke the cycle is I have a friend that works 2 jobs, a cousin who's a nurse, and at the time I was working at the hospital. She called me to borrow $100, and then I had to borrow from somebody else to give it to her. Then my friend who had 2 jobs asked me to borrow something. So I think I gave him the 100 I gave to. Either way, it was a circle of $100 between 3 people who had 4 jobs and worked over 40 hours among them. And I was like, y'all don't understand how crazy this is. After everyone that they brought back, I was like, do you understand? Like, I got 100 from her. You asked me to borrow it. I lent you her 100. And I was like, this is crazy. We make way too much money for this to make any type of sense. And that's when I was like, there's a problem. I got to really sit down and figure it out. And that's when I sat down and I opened up a bank statement and I realized that I was leaking money like a running faucet.
That's
Uber
crazy.
here, Uber Eats, subscriptions, and all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Yo, that's crazy because I went through that, didn't know there was a term for it. And it's like, you know, I had one job, then I had that same job, moved to Atlanta with it when Atlanta cost of living wasn't as bad as it is now. And I'm like, all right, I should be doing good. I'm making good money now. And I'm in Atlanta. And I still wasn't able to save like I thought I would be. And I'm like, damn, what's going on? Then I get my job I have now, and I literally double my salary. But then, like you said, oh, let me get a big apartment. Let me get this. Let me get that. Let me go out. Let me do all these different things. And how money was easily, it came to me a lot larger sums. But then I'm still in the same position. And it wasn't for me getting married. I think I'll still be in that position because then my wife and I had discussions like, yo, we can't live like this no more. We got to put money to the side just for bills and money for this and money for that. And everything will be allocated for different things. And not to mention, you know, we don't have to fall to the pressures of what everybody telling us what we need to do with our money and how we should be. People are like, oh, y'all got married, y'all should have a kid together. We both like, we have a kid each. We don't need no more children. But everybody want us to have more children because that's what they want us to do. And we feel like the pressure, we don't have to fall into it. Then
Societal
they were
pressure.
like, yeah, oh, why don't y'all get a bigger house? We don't need a bigger house. There's only 3 of us here. Why do we need a bigger house? My son moved back to New York. Then I paid off my car. The car that I paid off that I had, I gave to my son. And now my wife and I share a car. Oh, y'all only got one car? We both work from home. So if somebody need to go somewhere, they could go. Another person don't need to go, or we go together. Like we never been in a space where we both need a car. And matter of fact, it was one time. And I just take an Uber. Like the amount of money I can spend on an Uber, why would I have a car note with more car insurance? Why would I do that? Just for the simple fact. Yeah. And it's like, we are now comfortable enough to not spend money the way people want us to spend money. Then now we could do, the trips. Now we could do the upgrades. Now we could get the new floors. Now we get the appliances. Now we could do the different things that we need to do because we now allocated the money the right way as opposed to keep leveling up because more money is coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like in today's America, a 2-income household is damn near essential. And that's for one thing, But then, like I said, I had to realize, like, when I went from 20, 30K, whatever, to 60, 70, I still felt poor. But it's like, no, I wasn't still poor. I was making poor decisions because then I start hearing from and talking to actual poor people where it's like, listen, if I find an extra $10 in my pocket, that's going to make my week. I'm like, oh shit, here I am complaining like I'm broke because I just spent $400 until I get paid on Thursday. But this is somebody who's stretching $10, for like 2 weeks and all kind of different situations that I seen that made me realize, like, all right, like there's levels to this ish. Like I can't just say that I'm poor, like it's exclusive only to me. There's people who's worse off and there's people who are better off. So again, like I don't compare myself or blame nobody because of that situation. And if I am gonna pass blame, we've already established who I'm gonna put it on. Not the poor person poorer than me. Like, what's that gonna do?
So let me ask you this. So when it comes to, I guess, the welfare mindset, do you think that's problematic that people will want to stay on welfare as opposed to try to work themselves out of it?
That's a good question because I see that a lot. And when people say, well, this is your situation, why don't you do better or something like that? Mm-hmm. And I say, even then, that I don't, because I realize everybody's circumstances and situations is different. And I have no idea what they went through or what led them to that point to get to where they at. So without knowing somebody's individual circumstances where I could be like, oh, this is where you messed up and this is all on you, I don't feel comfortable saying that because you don't know what happened. Somebody could have been doing what they were supposed to their whole life. They get sick, lose their job, miss 2 checks, then they're homeless. And then, you see them on 125th with no teeth and think this guy's been a bum his whole life, but not knowing he got in a hit and run or something, got hurt, lost his job, and now this is his life through no fault of his own. So I wouldn't pass judgment because I don't know that situation. So I don't do that. I just look at it as some people is motivated and some people is not. But I understand how someone's motivation could be destroyed.
Yeah,
especially because I've been there. You talk me up on Threads, so I know. Like I've been there. It may be for something a lot smaller. It's not important. It's bullshit. It's social media. But imagine something serious, what it could do to you. I was literally reading up on a book on poverty before we had this discussion, and I forgot the terminology, right? But it was a Princeton study that said that when you're stressed due to financial or whatever, you literally lose IQ points. Your brain can't function at full capacity when you're stressed out and thinking about poverty, how you're paid, and all these other things. It affects your decision making. It affects your whole life. So for someone who's never been there or even understood what could put you in that frame of mind, while I might not expect you to understand it, I would expect you to have compassion and to have some kind of understanding. And again, that's what leads me to is just hate or people being evil. Because when I found that out, I was like, it makes sense. Because I know I've made some of my worst decisions when I was my most desperate.
Yeah. But when I asked the question, I was kind of thinking about the generations of people that is in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Like 3 or 4 generations in the projects passing down the apartment buildings to the next generation, and they just staying there. Like, that's what I was talking about. You know what I'm talking. You've seen it before.
I know what you're talking about, but before I answer, because even though I didn't exactly answer it, I want to know how you feel about that first. What's your take on it?
I think it's a mindset that's passed down. I think it's a mentality that's passed down. So, say for whatever reason, grandma had to go to Section 8, right? So she had her kids. Now, one of the kids, right? Just say one of the kids is like, all right, I'm gonna stay here with mom. All right, boom. They stay here with mom. But now mom is getting older. You don't want to leave mom. Then now she have kids. And now those kids are getting older. And now they kind of like, I'm gonna stay with my mom and grandma just to keep this going. And not to mention it's cheap. Not to mention I can't get a man, because if I get a man, I can't have this no more. Like, that whole thing does play a part in why people make that decision. And I think, like, damn, how much more could you do if you weren't under the thumb of the guidelines of the government? Because it affects what job you get, it affects what kind of healthcare you get, it affects your relationship with your partners. It affects a lot of different things that could help you level up and also create that generational wealth. Or there's a generational mindset to keep the generation mindset to keep going to one of the people who get that generation wealth that's within your family lineage.
All right. So I understand where you're coming from, and I do actually agree with you there that is an issue with how that mindset could develop. Unfortunately, the system is kind of meant to keep you poor, because if you make any kind of money whatsoever, they're quick to snatch the benefits or whatever you're getting away from you. So I've always felt like they want to keep you poor to keep you on the government's tip. So I agree with you there. But however, that poverty mindset, while I do think it needs to be broken, I don't think it's good to grow up generation after generation where all we own is this project apartment. You know, like, I do think that's bad, but I don't fault them. They just have the wrong mindset. And I can see how it could be developed. It's unfortunate, but again, that's something that I attribute more so to the system, because I see every day, I see kids and I'd be like, that kid has no shot. And I'm not talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I'm talking about 6, 7, 8, 9. I could just look at their parents, see what's going on in that 5, 10 minutes of space of being around them and being like, this kid has no shot because of how they're
I disagree with that. I think you're giving them an excuse. You're giving them an out.
Like, that's
like
the
a
biggest
5, 6-year-old? No shot?
Yes.
Nah, ain't no way.
No shot.
You're giving them an out. You're giving them an out because I grew up on a block where it was drug infested, crack infested. Like, I grew up with people who their parents was on crazy drugs. And you would think that person would end up being a fuck up, but that person end up not having, like, I'm not saying this person's a doctor, but hey, they might be a truck driver where now that person's not relying on the system. He's relying on the skill set of driving a truck to provide for his wife and kids. So even though his mom or his parents were in a situation where, and you know what I'm saying, like, we little kids, and you know, as a little kid, you don't see it like that, but when you get older, you understand what was going on. You're like, damn, he came up with some fucked up situation, but now he's doing okay for himself. And at 5 or 6 years old, you say you see somebody in a situation like, damn, they don't have no shot. I think everybody have a shot. It's just within yourself to dig deep in within yourself. I mean, even like some people I see that's like migrants, legal or illegal, they come here without even knowing the language. And I know this lady, she barely speaks English, but she also is a multimillionaire in this country. So she came here not knowing the language, was able to build up her own network within her own community where she's a multimillionaire now. Like, people got shots. Like, you can't say they don't have no shot at 6. That's crazy.
All right.
Even at 18.
So let me say this to that. Everyone has a shot. I could win NBA MVP. There's a 0.00001% chance, but that's a shot. But is it a legitimate shot? What you're doing, and I'm not blaming you. I see a lot of people do it. I call it the LeBron James theory. LeBron James made it out the hood. So why can't you? Like, yeah, of course, there's outliers to every rule, but if I could predict your future wages by your zip code, then that means that system is designed to know somebody doesn't have a shot. So when I say that, yes, I know that I could bet you with certainty, if we put up 100 racks on 10 kids between the ages of 1 to 14, just by observing their parents, I can tell you how they're going to end up. And I think I would be right more often than not. And in that kind of system, that's just people making it out like, yeah, of course, people can make it out. People have a chance. But if your situation is way less than ideal, your chances of making it are way lower. And this is not an opinion. It's a proven fact. There's statistical data to back it up. So one person making it out, like, that's cool. But that one person may have been in the hood, but they might have had 2 parents. Both parents might have been working. They're still in the hood, but that situation is very different from the person in the hood with 1 parent who might not be working, or 1 parent who works all the time, but mom works from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 7 o'clock the next morning. So you're not being monitored what you're doing all day long. Those are 3 people who you would consider similar situations, but can have completely different outcomes in life. And at the end of the day, it all boiled down to their situations.
So let me ask you this. Do you think when people do make it out and people do have, I guess what you would say, outlier stories, should those stories be amplified and celebrated for people who are in those situations can now be like, all right, I heard this story. This story is similar to mine. If this person could do what he did, or what this person could do what she did, then I could do something. You have that sense of hope of, like you said, you in a certain zip code, you're going to make a certain amount of money. So say the cap on the zip code that you live in is 50K. You can't take that 50K and move to another zip code where you can make more money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still step up.
You need knowledge. Knowledge is key. And I know
That's
that will
what I
go
said. The
back
people
to,
who
well,
did it
well,
could be
on you to
example.
go back out there and get that knowledge, set that example. But if you don't have it, you don't know what you don't know. So it's like, if there's no one there to teach you, there's no one around, you just following the examples that you see in front of you, and that's what you're going off of, it's easy to end up in that situation. And I don't look at that as giving people excuses. I just look at it as reality. That's just the reality of the situation that people are in, that it's not an equal opportunity. So somebody making it out, I don't look at that as an example of, see, we all got a chance. I just look at it as good for them. They got lucky. They made it.
Nah. You say it's not an equal opportunity, but it's still an opportunity. Not every opportunity is going to be equal. Not everybody going to have the same stepping stones as somebody else, but you still have the opportunity.
But if everybody doesn't have an equal opportunity, why would you expect equal results?
I'm not saying equal results. I'm just saying results of yourself getting out of that situation. Because why would
that result might not be to get out? That person's lot in life, because of the situation that they ended up with and the frame of mind that they ended up with, that's as good as it gets for them. Like, that is also a reality. I don't think there's a system that exists where everybody is going to be doing good.
No,
but
of course not.
If you at least arm people with the tools to give them a fair shot, and then they still ended up effed up, then I would come to that side like, all right, listen, all things was equal or equal enough. You had a fair shot and it didn't work out. But if them shots ain't fair, I'm not blaming people. Not even then.
Yeah, I have to disagree with that, man. Because like I said, the opportunity is opportunity. It don't have to be equal, but you have to have the presence of mind of somebody at least giving you a push in a direction. Like, somebody got at least push you. Like, yo,
have that?
What if you? I would argue that you have it, but you have to also recognize you had it. It's like that one girl that got away, or that one guy that got away. Somebody is going to push you. You're going to have one person who's going to push you. It might not be as hard as you want. It might not come at the time you want it to come, but somebody's going to push you. I hear what
you're saying. But 9 times out of 10, you know who's going to push you? The fly nigga on the block with the nice whip and the ladies. The dudes in the front who be chilling all time, swagged out, all the designer stuff. Most likely, that's what you're going to see. So you see that, you want to live like that? Or do you want to live like Mr. Johnson, who you've seen going and coming to work every morning for 30 years in dusty, busty clothes, coming home to his family, don't look right? Now, yeah, there's a subset of people that would see Mr. Johnson's lifestyle and be like, like, it may not be flashy, but that's the life for me. But there's a very small percentage. Most young people are gonna see the dope boy, the person on the corner that looks like they live in fly, and gonna gravitate towards that until they realize that's not the lifestyle.
But you, like you said, once you see the dope boy that's on the corner that's living that lifestyle, but once you start seeing them running from cops, once you start seeing them getting shot at, once you start seeing all the negative results of being the dope boy, you still want to be a dope boy? I think that somebody have to see it and be like, all right, I don't want, like, for me, I grew up in a crack infested area, never touched crack, but I know people who sold crack. I know people who smoke crack. I know people who sold heroin. I know people who shot up heroin. I know people who did that. I grew up in that situation. I grew up like, I don't want that. And it took for me, honestly, till I'm in my 20s to get that push. But I still knew that I don't want to be on the corner. I don't want to be on the street. I don't want to get shot at. I found dead bodies when I was 10, 11 years old playing tag. I lived through that life. I've lived on the block where my house got shot up because somebody else had some beef down the street. I've been in ducking behind cars because somebody's shooting. I've been through that. So me going through that, that's not appealing. So maybe I'm the outlier, but I know more people who lived through that didn't go through that. Maybe they got the 2 jobs. Maybe they got the job with the utility company. Maybe they got something else that worked out for them, but they still got that push, I believe. I'm just saying, for my example of living somewhere where, you know what I'm saying, law enforcement told me when I got older that I lived on the worst block in the town, that most phone calls that they get is to that block, whether domestic, whether it's drugs, whether it's shootings, whether it's just regular fighting, stealing, whatever, it's the worst block.
All right. I see what you're saying, but even when I go to that, like, I understand what you're saying. It's almost 2 different examples, because in that same discussion, like, seeing that things is wrong and not doing it so you don't end up in jail. Like, I agree with you. That's a choice. You should realize by a certain point, like, all right, maybe selling drugs or doing this isn't bad. But I feel like that's 2 different discussions from knowing right and wrong, from ending up with a shitty lot in life after that. Because you might realize at 28, 2 arrests, whatever that's not the life. But what prospects do you got at that point? At the best you can do at that point might be to work a construction job, raise a family in the projects, and that's it. I don't look at that as a failure, because that person's circumstance, that might have been the best that they could do. Whereas someone in a different situation who realizes it at 16 or 14 instead, or has parents to push them, or whatever their situation is, that changes their outcome. I could listen, people know where we went to. Like you say, you didn't end up like that. Is we went to a good high school. It's all good. By definition, we went to a good high school. I don't think it's self-snitching. I don't think Freeport could come after me 30 years, whatever many years later, but I lived in a horrible district. There's a reason why I went to Freeport with China, not Roosevelt. I could not tell you, Ron, like, because my father felt I didn't stand a chance if I went to Roosevelt. And at that age, I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter to me. But he was right. One day I went there for something to drop my sisters off, and so many people in the school was just like, oh, what up? What up? Like, saying stuff to me, and like, what's up? And I was like, I know so many people in this neighborhood, but when I tell you the school looked like a POS, like, I was like, yeah, like, what is this? This is the slums. I know so many people who was in that school who didn't even graduate high school. It was a joke compared to where we went. And yeah, we did go to like a private school or something like that, but we had an opportunity to even go to a decent school. Is an opportunity that it shouldn't be. That should be something that everybody, that should be the bare minimum. But for our situation, for us, you know, that was a come up for us, as opposed to the Duck Pond gangsters who knows what their home situation was, probably why they ended up like that. Bet you if some of them had 2 parents household and someone telling them that's not what you want to do and all that, might have ended up different. That's why I say I think that stuff matters. So when I see that, when I see welfare queen moms who all do have that mindset, like, oh, you don't need to work, honey, this is how you game the system. Or I do see someone like, oh, this is the life you need to lead. You no father. I say, yeah, I see how this kid is gonna end up. I know, because I know the system knows. They know these things. That's why they put us in these positions. That's why they could predict our future financial prospects and all that. They say a majority of us, a high percentage, end up within the income range of our parents. Despite all the you could push through and you can do this and we all can make it, a large majority of us end up within the same salary range as our parents. Why is that?
Because it's a mindset that's passed down. My bad. I was kind of paying attention to I started hearing the echo at the end when you was going on your rant. I was like, damn, man.
sorry. Sometimes I go on tangents.
It was something on my end, on my little Rode Streamer X. It was picking up you twice, but I fixed it real quick. It's the mindset that's passed down. You know, they say that your parents are your first teachers. So your parents have the mindset of you're not going to do any better. What's going to be the mentality that you have until you break away from that mindset? You're not going to do any better.
But that's the thing. It's not even if your parents are telling you you're going to be the best, you're going to be the president. That's just the reality. It doesn't matter whether that's the funny part, like support it or not. The statistics show we are going to end up in the same. When I put up the video, I'm going to show you all these statistics because I've read these things before. That's what made me realize this shit is rigged. You're statistically going to still end up in the same salary range as your parent, whether they were there showing you exactly what they did for work and saying this is what you're going to be when you grow up, or you never saw them because they was a rolling stone. You're still going to end up within the same salary range as them. And to me, that says that's a broken system where that means people have no shot or a very little shot. Let me not say no.
So you're saying that as is a fact, or you saying that as a formula that's put out there from a study?
It's a formula put out there from a study.
Okay. Where's the study from?
I'm going to get the information from you. It was some research institute. It was in a book I read about poverty. I'm going to find the information for you. I have it like written, saved somewhere, but I want to give you the exact book and who exactly said it, not just the statistics. So I'm going to find it and send it to you.
And the reason why I ask is because at times when people have, I guess, studies, these studies are done with an outcome that they want the outcome to be. So for example, we go back to like COVID, you know, the studies were saying certain things about COVID because maybe they wanted to get people vaccinated because they had Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson in their pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do a study for us to make money. And sometimes when I see studies, I know that the studies are predetermined to have a certain outcome just so they can make money off of it. Or they have a predetermined certain outcome because they want that the belief to be the belief that they want people to believe in.
Let me say this to you, because I do agree, even though numbers don't lie, you can manipulate them to support whatever argument you want them to support.
Yeah.
So just because I seen that study in that book does not unequivocally mean that that's true. That's what I choose to believe. But what made me take that as I do believe it is after I got that number, I asked a bunch of people around me, you know, because people don't like to talk about money, which is stupid. That's another conversation people don't like to have, but an idea of what their parents did. And I know what they do now for work. And every single person that I know in my life is making around the same thing their parents made, more or less, within 10 to 20 grand. And that's not a large study. It's not like I could interview 1,000 people, but it was about 16 and it was all the same. So that led me to, well, that study plus my own less scholarly study, we want to say, just asking random people that I know. But those two facts led me to believe like, oh, there's some truth to this.
So let me ask you this. So the people that you ask is people that you know that's all in the same area. When they all fall into the right statistic that you wanted to the outcome to be. So like,
this wasn't a New York study. This is people. So it's not like obviously it's only people in New York, but it's people that I grew up with in Queens, Long Island, people that moved out of New York too.
So like, I know a couple of people I can say this for that I know their parents and I know their situation where they making a lot more, a substantial amount more money, and also making decisions where they have partners that helping them. So not only they making, say, $75,000 more, $100,000 more than their parents, now they also have a partner that's making close or to what they're making with a double income as opposed to their parents being in a single situation. I know a couple of people like that.
Okay, so that would make you, which I guess then what we discussing is maybe it comes down to a little of what you see. Maybe because I see the opposite, so that would lead me to believe that conclusion is true, and you see the opposite, so that would lead you to believe that conclusion is not necessarily true.
Yeah,
but
I'm not saying I see the opposite, but I know people who are in the opposite. Yeah, I know people who also, for example, I think I fall into that category of I'm making comparable to what my mom made at the time she made it when she was my age. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think me and my mom right now be parallel in incomes at the age I'm at and the age she was at when she was, my age. It's
Similar,
like parallel
or you
incomes.
saying you make more?
I guess with inflation and everything like that, it'll still be similar.
The same, similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will fall into that category.
Me too.
Yeah.
But the thing
I
is,
just know
I
that
can say I'm doing better. I know I'm doing better by my parents, but this is not a lifestyle study. It's literally just income. What do you report on your taxes? That's what they're looking at. That's it. So that's what I was going by, not necessarily a situation. Because that I know, I could say me and a lot of the people around me, I observed their lifestyles to be better than when we were young and how they grew up. But as far as what they're making, it's generally the same.
But also, how many other incomes did the parents have compared to the people that you ask? So do you have only one income?
Well, that's what I was going by, because not necessarily your household, but just this individual person. Because I can't say for the study, I don't remember if they did it as a household, I would assume, but I'm going by individual, because your parents is individual to you. And you get into relationships. Listen, that's not an even environment that I could even explain. I know very few people that were married in couples growing up anyway. And even now, grown, not many of my friends is in long-term relationships. So I'm asking people individually, like, what did your parents make? What are you making?
Yeah. So
Relationships is like taboo in my circle. That's another, you say you deal with broken traditions. That's a broken tradition you need to have a conversation about. I could put like 9 people on your stream for you to figure out why they broken men that don't want to commit, but whatever. I don't want to
oh my
veer
God, man. It's a cheat code. I don't understand why you don't want the cheat code.
Listen, 2 income is a must. I mean, I know the answer. I could tell you. I mean, uneducated guess not to change the subject. Is that the fun of being a fuckboy outweighs the sanity of having a 2-family household? Because this happens every 7 months when I go out with my friends and have a blast. It'd be fun for them that time. But when it's over and I come home, I'd be like, thank God, because I couldn't live like that. The next day, not having a dirty crib or somebody could actually make me something to eat and all the other little things that you don't think matter. Nah, when I get old, it matters. They don't care about them.
Man, that we call it the 5 H's in Atlanta. And I'm pretty sure it's similar to New York. So the 5 H's is the hoes, the heartbreak, the hot wings, the hookah, and the Hennessy. That's all is out there for you.
Big. Oh man, my neighborhood love hookah. Oh my God.
I think y'all bigger on hookah than we are in Atlanta, but we ain't too far behind.
Yeah, y'all got us on the strip clubs, I think, right?
Yeah, we do. I mean, okay. I don't mean they got we have quantity but not quality. So
yeah, never been my thing.
Me neither. I can't do it. Like I've been there just to have jokes and fun and laugh, but like to take it serious, no. Like the last time I went to Blue Flame, and I was just more intrigued of finally get to touch a BBL, and like, all right, here's $5. I get to see what this is about without committing to you.
What the hype about?
Yeah, like, all right, now I know you feel like you got on shoulder pads like a quarterback, like you got on, say pads like you about to go play the NFL. And I'm like, that's what you feel like. All right, I get it. But now I got my $10. I give you $10. I got my results. And now I can go on my life without wanting to be with a woman with a BBL.
Well, not to say that I'm a BBL connoisseur or anything like that, but there are levels.
Well, I guess I start at the bottom level.
Yeah. There's the rock hards, there's the soft ones, and there's the muscle kind, there's the misshapen kind. Yeah, there's levels. It usually depends where you got it done and what you spent.
All right, so I need to go do some more extensive research. That's what you tell me.
A little more research, a little more investigative research. I'm pretty sure you can even write that up on your taxes.
Damn. Okay, I might could do that. Especially with Trump in office.
Right? Like it's the time for scamming.
It's a time for loopholes. We're not gonna call it scamming. My scamming days is over. It's time for loopholes.
Yeah, there you go. That's the the way to put it now in all the age. You're right. That sounds a lot cleaner. I watch enough American Greed to know that's how we should put the terminology.
Yep.
But to bring it back full circle, though, even something as small, like you said, as a couple thing, like as something to be broken, to change your mentality to family household and all that, yeah, that would make a difference. But I venture to guess, and this is just a guess, that a lot of people grow up in single parent households, and you grow up in single parent households, you think it's cool for you to be a single parent or be by yourself or whatever, because I seen a lot of that growing up too. Like that's something that I broke.
Yeah. I mean, my dad died when I was young, but I did see it a lot, and people like, man, it's just a mindset of it's easier, but then when you get older and our age, like, damn, like if you sick, you know, ain't nobody coming here to check on you. You ain't getting no type of soup. You ain't getting no little, you feel better with patting up. You ain't getting none of that if you by yourself. And the older we get, some of them ailments keep creeping up faster and faster, especially if you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah, that's a fact. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I bought my first bootleg mixtape from you back in the day. So would you consider that a loophole or scheming? If people need to know, you've been hustling. First mixtape bootleg I bought. Big L. Like, Big L? Look at that. You got some nerve sitting up here trying to tell the people everyone got a chance. And my man was hustling. That's when I knew you, because I didn't meet you till high school. So it probably means you was doing had some kind of hustle from DOT or some shit and want to tell people they all got a shot. Your mind frame is different.
Yo, you know
Your
what,
mind is different.
Yeah, I guess so. I was definitely selling a lot of things.
Man selling bootleg CDs in his teens when computers just learned to even burn CDs is different. Come on. Don't do this.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Now I think about it, like I got banned from eBay, right? I got banned from eBay for selling bootleg Gucci belts and sneaker combos. I don't know why the people who bought these things thought they were getting real Gucci belts and sneakers.
Why?
Those shits were so boo-boo. It's not like the fake stuff that's coming out now. Like this is way back. This is probably like 2002, 2001. Like we first graduated, and I don't know. Somebody give me a link to like a Chinese website. It's like, yeah, they got all this fake stuff and they drop shit. And all I did is put on eBay, $225. They just sell like hotcakes. Yo, my user seller was so bad because it came with Chinese writing on it.
That was your first mistake. You were selling it for full price?
How is that full price? You get a belt and sneakers?
All right, it's not full, but I mean, yeah, you got Yeah, you're right. You're right. You got to sell it for a decent price.
The belt alone is $500.
Yeah, nah, you're right.
Yeah, like that's a quarter of the price. And
but how long ago? I don't know. With inflation, I feel like that's kind of high for fake goods. Like that's what I'm trying to give you some grace. I'm like, you're right, but with inflation, I don't know, man. $260 then was how much?
That was a good price. That's a good price.
$450, $500.
Yeah, that's still a good price now. For a fake Gucci, a Gucci belt is like what, 600?
Well,
right now,
the last fake Gucci belt I purchased was $50.
Oh, no, but that's the thing.
Years ago,
you are in New York, so you have access to get the fake Gucci belts.
Weren't you at the time?
Yes, but the people I'm selling to don't have the access that we had in New York.
eBay. You're right.
Yes.
eBay.
See,
this is a
so they don't have the access.
You can just Google Gucci belt and find one. You're right. I'm forgetting. I forgot how old we are. My bad.
They didn't have the access to get the fake Gucci's.
Yeah,
I was a plug, but they didn't know they were fake. And I don't know. Maybe I should put a dot between the C and the I on Gucci so people didn't think it was real Gucci.
Something, right? Some kind of clue.
Yeah.
Some kind of clue. That's a fun game. Loophole or crime.
So how you feel about this format right here, this conversation?
Yo, this was dope. I don't know how long we've been talking, but this has been a long time. And I'm gonna be honest, right? This was a podcast week. I don't have to do one. This is gonna be it. So I'm done. The podcast. I ain't gonna lie,
my podcast has dropped 40 minutes ago. So I gotta check it out to see what's going on with the stats. I said I got new subscribers. I don't know if you saw that little thing pop up in the corner. It said new subscriber.
I did see something on screen, but I didn't see it.
So like that's when I go on live. and
Mhm.
people will like, super chat or become a subscriber, and they let people know that somebody subscribed. So I saw it. I was like, oh, I forgot to turn it off.
Oh,
So
okay. And that's
yeah,
dope.
but like I
So
said, it's going to be 2 different files. So it's going to have like full screen. So it's going to have it like this. Hold on, I can show you have you like that.
Mhm.
Then have you back there. Oh, you go back. Oh, wait. The heck? Where I go? I guess I got to go here. Okay, go back to that.
Yeah.
Oh, go. I could be full screen.
Now you see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
fine. I never used Ecamm. Yeah, so I'm gonna use both. I'm gonna make the video. It's gonna take a couple days, and then the
of
audio.
course it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna need like 2 days.
No, it might not
I
take
even
that
woke
long
up from
because
my nap.
also too, it's going to send you. It's going to see the audio files. I can send you so my audio file, when I'm saying, and your audio file, so it can be separate, so you can alternate between the sounds. and
Okay.
adjust it. Yeah, so
All
it's
right.
not one file that you got to just start manipulating. You know what I'm saying?
With one. All right. So it's gonna be an audio and a video file.
Yeah. So it's gonna be 3 videos. So it's gonna be this, like we see right here. Then my separate, your separate, and 2
Gotcha.
audios of your part and my part.
That's how they do. Look, I do a lot of creation, but you learn something. I be watching the YouTube videos where they be having like 6 boxes and they be doing the discussions like we just had.
Yeah.
And I be seeing it switch, and I'm like, oh, that's fly. I don't know how they do that, but that's dope. But look,
Yeah,
see?
so either you get you can get a switcher, or you get a switcher that switch between cameras, or like I said, you have the
I
panel.
have that for our real camera for the podcast. We had one of those, but I started telling him I could just do it on my end in editing. So I'd rather just do that because our video guy would space out. Sometimes somebody would be talking, but he'd leave the camera on the person who's just looking at their phone or something, or like staring off into space. So I was like, yeah,
crazy you said that too, because I'm in talks with a podcast studio, and I just told them, give me the files. I do it everything myself. Like I just want separate files. I do it myself. I don't need y'all switching. Just hit record. Y'all can walk out if y'all want to.
Especially if they're perfectionists.
Yeah.
And I can admit a fun fact with you. Before we recorded, again, if people watch me enough, know I'm liable to fall asleep anytime. So I was asleep before we started, but I set an alarm. So when it went off, I was like, God damn it. Like, why do you agree to shit ahead of time? Because I was already like, I just want to go to sleep. But this was dope. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, man. I got to go take my car I got for work for a spin. So I was supposed to do that an hour ago, but yeah, I could do that, I guess.
Go handle your business. I hope we could do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely could start doing this more often. Is this something that you want to do? Like, I've been looking for a podcast co-host that I could work with frequently, but I don't know if you want to commit to something like that.
Listen, man, we could talk about it. I'm always down. The one thing about me is I'm not one of them people that's gonna agree to something and then just disappear. I'll silently bitch about it, but I'm gonna be there.
And don't be mad if I say Ronnie too, because I might just say that and slip up. And you'd be like, yo, nah, it's cash, son. It's cash, son.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
Cash, it's all right. It's all good. My Facebook clearly says I couldn't figure that out. So whatever.
There you go. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. So let me get up out of here. I appreciate it. I'm gonna send you the files via, I guess, Google Drive.
All right. Yeah. Cool. Just email it. Your end will probably come out before mine, so I'm gonna definitely look forward to that and make sure I check it out.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna drop this. To be honest,
today, right? Oh, you need time. You need time too.
No, I don't need time. I just have a schedule of the things I'm about to drop.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So when it does, eventually, I'll see it.
Yeah.
All right. So sounds good, man. We'll keep in touch and not do this again 3-4 years from now.
I bet.
All right. Have a good one.
Later.
Niggas smile in my face like I don't know and can't see the doubt in their eyes till I'm waiting in their crib with their kids shouting, surprise, you keep a heart full of hate.